congratulations, you made it back. So today I'm going to talk about why I feel that it's good to actually start playing guitar. Just start learning. I appreciate you for coming back if you've been here before and partaking in some of my lessons and, you know, little show-offs. If you like it, cool. Subscribe, like, share, comment. Please do comment, like interact, because when you interact, it actually does help someone else. If they come through, it almost serves as a testimonial or if you just have a question and I can answer the question in the comments, that does help. Many wonder, what are the benefits of learning guitar? Some people just want a creative outlet. That's cool, but sometimes that's not enough. I believe that guitar should be at least one of the instruments that everyone learns. If you're learning an instrument, definitely add guitar to it, okay? And if you don't learn any other instrument, guitar would be a great choice, okay? Based on my research and all the students who I've given lessons, I found that these few reasons to actually be pretty common between all the students who I've given lessons to, all right? So why do people want to learn guitar? They have an opportunity to express creativity. You know, it's an extra way. Some people choose to draw or learn how to draw. You know, some people express through fashion and clothing and things like that. And they have never actually taken the chance to explore music. And some people are quite intimidated because music may look easy to another person, or maybe a person who has played guitar for some time, maybe some years. Maybe it looks so easy and then you're afraid to look like a newbie. But actually there are a lot of benefits to learning guitar. And even if you're just starting, there are lots of perks that come along with that, because you can actually be thought of as bold or courageous to even want to learn a new instrument. It takes a little bit of courage, you know, and depending on how you want to share your journey in learning guitar, if you want to share what song you're learning, you might mess up. And if you mess up, I mean, quote unquote, if you mess up, you have to think about people's responses like, wait a minute. But it's pretty cool when you can mess up and kind of play it off, brush it off. And that actually builds a muscle of not being afraid to mess up. Okay. So don't be afraid to try something new, and don't be afraid to just in the journey. Yeah, you might trip over your guitar strings. I was about to say, you might trip over your shoestrings, but you might trip over your guitar strings. So I think that works. Yeah, so yeah, it's an opportunity to express your creativity. And remember, you're creative without guitar, okay? This is just a creative outlet, and this is a way to help you express the creativity that you have. You're already creative, and we demonstrate creativity in many areas of life, even at home or in friendships and all those things. So just keep that in mind. Some of us simply enjoy, like we personally enjoy music, okay? And some of us have, we've lived a little bit of life, and, you know, all we've done is work and going to a 9-to-5, and we're going to this 9-to-5, but we come home, go to a 9-to-5, come home, go to a 9-to-5, come home. And it's the same repetitive thing day in and day out. And you don't have anything to really enjoy for your personal enjoyment. And, you know, maybe you want to, you know, get into some sports clubs, or maybe you want to get into tennis or learning how to play, I don't know, ping pong, or there's a sense of connection that you actually feel when you have an extracurricular activity outside of work. Okay. And learning guitar is a great option because it's something that you can do alone, but it's also something that you can do with other people, like with a community, a guitar community for beginners, something like that. And I'm actually working on growing a guitar community for beginners, actually. So communities of this nature can really eliminate all the embarrassment, because everybody's pretty much in the same position, or they're on their own journey, and they remember where they once were, and they're just present to encourage you, okay, because they know how it was. And I definitely remember how it was, okay, because I have not been playing guitar since I was a kid, okay. I started a lot later. Okay, I'm in my 40s now, so I started in my 20s. All right, so I mean, by now, yes, I've been playing for about 20 years now. That's when I started. I didn't go throughout high school, and I wasn't like 6 years old, prodigy. That wasn't me. I started a little bit later. Okay, I was an adult when I started playing guitar, so keep that in mind. I mentioned this before, but social connection is very important. You know, we want a sense of belonging. We want a sense of connection, community. We want to have a place or a group that we could say, hey, I'm a part of this group, okay? And let's just say you were not a part of a group, but let's just say you went to the park and you just have your guitar with you and you're just sitting on a bench and you're trying to figure out some chords. Well, many times people who are walking by, they're intrigued by just wondering, like, what are you trying to figure out? You know, what did you come up with? People are intrigued by noticing someone just flipping through their creative process, just going through that Rolodex. Okay, let me try this idea. Let me try that idea. Okay, and messing up and then trying it again. People like that. If they have something to say about it, they're projecting, basically. All right, so that's pretty much what that is. Another reason is there are different cultures that include guitar. You know, there are different nationalities and styles of music that incorporate guitar into that style of music. And that by itself, the fact that there are different styles of playing music, you have like acoustic folk music, you know, maybe you're someone who just wants to sit around a campfire and just vibe out. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's pretty fly. Like, it's very relaxing, okay? And just go out in the woods somewhere and, you know, make sure you're with somebody. Different Latin cultures, let's say like salsa or just different music within that arena has a lot of acoustic guitar. Well, acoustic guitar, but, you know, a lot of nylon string guitar stuff, like classical guitar is normally the tone that you hear, but hey, it's there nevertheless. So just keep in mind that there are many cultures that incorporate guitar into that style of music just across the board, okay? Like maybe aside from electronic music and stuff like that, but we even hear that. I produce some music that is electronic music, but it has acoustic guitar in it, or it has electric guitar in it, okay? So they're both the same notes. So just keep that in mind. Like, there are so many different ways that you can actually incorporate adding guitar if you decide to want to write songs or compose music. So, and I just think that guitar is fun, just in general. Like, even if you never did any of that, I feel like it's a fun thing to do. Another reason is that you actually have a sense of fulfillment, you know, a sense of achieving something when you track your progress and you notice that, man, last week I didn't know how to play this chord, but this week I finally have a feel for how to play this chord, you know, and transitioning between chords from one chord to another and doing it while strumming. There's something about that. There's something about taking control over your body and making it do something that it could not do before. There's just a lot to say about that. There are things that you could not do once before that now you know how to do with a little bit of instruction. And that is helpful. And it helps you feel just levels of success in other areas that you may not have been able to notice before, because you're confident that what you did not know how to do prior, that you eventually will know how to do it. So some people are intimidated by, some people are intimidated and they just don't even start. They just don't even do it because they think that they won't be able to eventually get better. And that's just not true. Okay. So just keep in mind that whatever you put effort toward, and if you have some decent instruction behind it, you're going to get better. Okay. Remember, there was once a time that you didn't know how to walk. There was once a time you didn't know how to talk, but at the time, everyone around you was talking. So there was a community around you who were doing things that you did not know how to do at the time. And you were inspired to do it. So the same thing is true with guitar. If you make the decision to want to learn an instrument, and again, I suggest guitar. I would suggest any instrument, but there are reasons that I suggest guitar. But pick something up. Have something in your house that when you don't have nothing to do, you're not just getting into idle things. You're actually productive at learning something. Okay. Music helps you to communicate creatively. Okay. You can find different ways to actually, even within conversation, music helps you to find different ways to express yourself, to like, man, how do I say this? I can say this through a song, I can say this through playing some chords, or maybe I want to write a poem over this music, or maybe I just want to record it through GarageBand, or maybe you can use Audacity. Both of these are free softwares. Okay. GarageBand is free if you have a Mac. Audacity is free as well if you have a PC. Okay. So just keep in mind, like, there's no excuse. You really do have all the tools that you need, with the exception of course, you got to buy the guitar, So, but typically finances isn't even an issue. If your budget is $75, if you look hard enough, you can find a $75 guitar if it's used. But I don't recommend buying a brand new $75 guitar because typically it might not even stay in tune, to be honest with you. I would recommend getting a used guitar from a pawn shop. Sit down with it, okay? Make sure that it fits you well, and make sure that it stays in tune. The way that you make sure that it stays in tune is basically tune it to a note and wait about 5 minutes. And if it stays in that same position, I think you're in a pretty good place, because some guitars won't stay in tune for 2 minutes. Okay. And that's actually one barrier that I would run into while teaching my beginner guitar students, is that the parents would buy these toy guitars for their guitar learner. And the first thing that we do is tune our guitars. Okay. And some people had better guitars than others. And people who had better guitars, they still had to tune, but they had to just do very minimal tuning. If your guitar just goes out of tune as soon as you tune it, then we're spending time tuning the guitar, and that's a waste. Okay. And so yeah, I could go on and on about that. But guitars, in my opinion, and here's actually another reason, are relatively accessible. Okay. And I really just previously spoke about that. Finances should not be an issue. That should not be a reason as to why you don't start guitar, because there's either someone giving one away, someone that is not using a guitar, and, maybe they're being stingy because they just want to have it, and they claim that they're going to start, but they're really not going to start. I didn't even know that Craigslist was still around. I mean, Facebook Marketplace, and people are selling guitars for $50. Okay. And nowadays people have $50. I've given guitars away to my students because they just showed a little bit of dedication. And I'm like, man, they're going to use this, so I'll give a guitar away. Okay. And it was better than the guitar that they had. So if you show the effort and if you show the interest, I think that, yeah, somebody's going to come through for you if finances is an issue. I've seen people make provisions. Okay. Even, I might share it later, but I discovered, not necessarily discovered, but there are even people who don't have hands or arms, and they learn to play guitar with their feet. So that's like, I mean, maybe if you're one of the few people who have no limbs, you know, what I'm basically saying is there's really no excuse. And, you know, sometimes the best thing is if you don't want to do it, I mean, we're not punishing you for not wanting to learn an instrument. If it's not for you, it's not for you. But I would still encourage you to learn an instrument. I think it's pretty cool. The influence of role models. Yeah. Many people are inspired by famous musicians. Okay. Famous guitarists. You know, these are just individuals who, they just, you know, they make playing the guitar look cool. I had one guitar student who he didn't want to play one song. He just wanted to be able to play one chord and say, and kind of yell the words, rock out. That's all he wanted to do. He didn't want to learn these guitar tabs, and he didn't care about that. He was just like, teach me how to play one chord so that I can say, rock out. And that was it. That was it. And I did that. Now, eventually, once he knew how to do that, he was like, okay, yeah, show me something else. It's cool to be able to make a sound come through an instrument. Because to be honest with you, we do the same thing with our voices. You know, guitar is sort of like an extra limb, you know, that we learn how to use. We learn how to use our feet and our hands and everything. And we go through a process of getting better at using them. And I just feel like guitar is one of those things. Not only is it a piece of wood, but it has strings on it. It's like, you know, it has like vocal cords. It has, you know, all that stuff. So I could ramble on. So anyhow, that concludes, you know, my whole ramble about why I feel like it's a good idea to learn guitar, or why I feel people want to learn. Throughout all the people who I've taught guitar to, I just find these reasons to be common. Okay. And a brief recap. They want to express creativity, personal enjoyment, social connection, cultural influence, a sense of achievement, self-expression, accessibility. They found that it was more accessible than other instruments, like as far as their experience. And the influence of current famous musicians, you know, that just had, you know, made them feel a certain way. It really inspired them. One thing that I forgot to include is that learning an instrument, and in this case, I'm recommending guitar, it helps with fine motor skills in your fingers, you know, muscle memory. You know, when you do these things repetitively, it will help. Now, our bodies are made up in a way to where it doesn't matter how old you are. When you don't use something, you will lose it. I mean, it may take years to lose it, but it's just one of those things. Anybody who, let's say, for example, if you practice getting up out of a chair over and over, and you repeat that exercise, your body is going to adapt to that. You know, and if you practice that exercise enough, your body will develop muscle memory, okay, of doing that act over and over and over, to where maybe if you don't do it for a period, your body remembers doing it at one time, okay? And if you start doing it again, your muscles will remember it. Like, aside from just, you know, your actual brain, your muscles will remember the motion of it, okay? So when you practice guitar, your fingers will remember what chords to play. When you practice, you put your fingers through that repetition. After a while, your fingers go straight to it. Fine motor skills is another reason. That's actually in addition. Maybe that's like a bonus or whatever, but yeah, so there you go. Are there any challenges that you're having? Are you wondering if you want to start learning guitar? What's blocking you? You know, I want to know, you know, maybe I can help you to decide on what kind of guitar to get, you know, maybe based off what your budget is. Or maybe you have a guitar, but you're intimidated to take it to the next step. just leave a comment. Leave a comment and let me know what your barrier is, and maybe we can talk about it. Some of you may want to join my guitar Facebook group. If you want to do that, feel free. And if you have any questions, I can answer there as well. Maybe YouTube is, you know, a platform that you don't want to leave comments, but there are less people. There are far less people in my guitar group, but I can answer your questions in the Facebook group. I can answer the questions in the comments, however you feel comfortable. Okay. So feel free to subscribe. It doesn't even take a second to do. Like, share, and like I said, leave a comment. And yeah, so I hope this was helpful, and let me know what your thoughts are. If you have any hangups, just, you know, let me know what those are. Maybe I can help you out. All right. Oh yeah, stay creative, because you are creative.